Okay, it is the last day in October. We're going to take a look at the garden before the big freeze hits, and I'm going to pull out a lot of the um, plants today or this weekend and get them all out before that happens. We have our wall of tomatoes here, which have done exceptionally well. The first section here was the all volunteer crew. And then we did our five varieties that we started from seed. And it definitely, they were further behind than the stuff that I bought from the store, but they all did produce, and quite well, just much later in the season. They were probably 3 or so weeks behind the stuff that I bought that were already big enough to transplant. So, but there's still stuff right now. Anyway, so this has obviously become a huge overgrown mess because I was never expecting them all to actually make it to maturity, but they mostly, for the most part, all of them did. Amazing how those seedlings. And so I'll have lots of little green tomatoes, yellow tomatoes. I'll have to see if they will ripen up in the garage or whatnot. I've an experiment with some green tomato recipes, see how they turn out, but we'll see. It's been pretty cold lately, so I don't know if there's been any frost and damage from that or whatnot. So anyway, we'll see. So here in the box, I've already pulled out the zucchinis. I pulled out most of the eggplant. I left a couple in there that still had some fruits. Let them go to the last second. Here we have our bitter melon still growing. Cantaloupe, there's a lot of fruit on there, but some of them still aren't ripe. So I guess I'll just have to take them anyway and see if we can do something with them or not. But it's kind of weird. They grew really well. There's lots of fruits, but not a lot of them are ripe, as far as I can tell. Then over here we had our okra. Looks like it hasn't produced anything in the past week. The flowers are there, but they haven't turned into the fruit. So we've got a bunch of basil, so we'll be able to harvest the final part of that. Looks like it's got some weird damage on it, but hopefully there'll be enough in there to do something with. Then our chard is still kicking, and the kale, those ones will survive through the probably survive through the frost. We'll see. Then I can finally take out my spring crops. I planted these onions, or actually all the stuff, the chard, the kale, the onions, and the carrots in the spring. I just never got around to pulling out like the onions and carrots. So we'll see how they have stood up over this long time. I had one of the carrots the other day. It's okay. But anyway, so most of the stuff, like I said, is going to be pulled out or will be killed by the frost soon. And here I pulled out some of the eggplant there, the squash there, and then one of the peppers. I left this one on. This pepper, this red bell pepper, obviously it's not going to harvest or not going to mature, but I'll eat it as a green and see if it's what it tastes like. Our last little basil over here, it's kind of looking pretty slimy. It dipped pretty cold over the past week. Might have actually had a little frost in localized spots here. I'm not sure what that is, but there's a ton of tomatoes on these plants. So, like I said, I'll have to do something with lots of green tomatoes, or I'll have some really good compost. And then there's the black cherry tomato at the end, which overgrew into there. See my one butternut that made it a second butternut. I just realized that. So with the butternut, usually we leave them on there until the vines die, and because the fruit itself is very hardy. It gets that thick skin and it makes it real tough. So here you can see, so there's our in the corner, the long Chinese noodle beans. We didn't really eat too many of those, but we did save them for seed. And then you can see the big green beans there. I'm going to go over there, I think, so I can take a better look. Once again, the tomatoes, lots of tomatoes, all from seed, but had a late start. You can see lots and lots of green tomatoes here. With our beans, these were cool. They didn't actually, I had read about this, and that's exactly what they did, but they did not do very well at all through the whole year. and then when it cooled down, they started going. So big pods. There's going to have nice big seeds in them. I'll have to definitely going to save those seeds and show you later. But they're really cool, black, speckled, purple, stuff like that. And you can see these are just giant pods here. So really cool stuff there. Didn't actually eat any because by the time that they did start to produce, it was late. So it was the end of the season and everything else was going on. So, but anyway, so I'll be doing the final harvest, picking the final actual fruits that are harvested on the vine, and then the rest will be go to the garage and hopefully mature and get ripe on their own, and we'll see how well they do. But anyway, this has been the main garden for this year. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do any more videos after this, but maybe just a final cleanup one. But anyway, that's what it looks like as of the last day of October, and got a lot of work to do, so I better get to it. Thank you.